What's up, yellow little faith, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 19 of the Fagnostic Podcast. I'm your hostess, not your Moses, Matt Hayes, and if I'm still giving you episodes, it means that I'm still looking for peace in the unknown. I am squealing over today's guest, y'all. Flamy Grant is a shame-slaying, hip-swaying heathen with Appalachian roots who now call San Diego home. This singing, songwriting drag queen time-traveled from a 90s Lilith Fair tour to the present day, bringing with her a roots rock sound influenced by gospel and Americana. Her music shines a spotlight on the queer spiritual journey, telling stories of resilience and recovery from religious trauma. With a bold lip and a big lash, Flamy is here to rewrite the rules when it comes to religious music, as her songs demand a reckoning for an industry that has far too long silenced and shut out its LGBTQ+ artists and fans. Flamy's debut album, Bible Belt Baby, drops September 23rd, 2022 at your favorite digital music store. So tuck it tight and let's go. Welcome to the show, Flamy Grant. Flamy Grant. I don't even know where to start with you. I'm so excited.
No one does, baby. No one does.
Our mutual friend, Greg, tagged us both on Facebook and was like, you should know you. Mm-hmm. And here we are doing an episode a week later.
Yes. Because we respond, Greg. Do you hear it, Greg? We respond when you tag us. So.
Yes. But I'm obsessed with this name. For anyone, and if you don't know the reference, you actually are invited to leave the podcast now. Just go ahead and delete the app. Unsubscribe, unfollow, don't
delete
share.
yourself. Delete yourself.
Okay, so first of all, Flamy Grant, first question, are you a believer?
This is such an interesting question, and you did prep me for it. You said this is where you start each episode. I have a complicated answer to that, as we all do, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine. We'll normalize that. I would say that I behave like a believer in a lot of ways, which I think is weird when I really sit down and think about it, because for a long time I ditched any kind of label Christian. I was just like, no, I'm apostatizing. I am leaving my faith. I want nothing to do with this mess, especially as I see it in America right now. Right. So
yeah.
Back in 2017, I started a podcast called Heathen. It was before deconstruction was a buzzword. I just literally was trying to figure out. I was trying to answer that question for myself. What do I believe? Because I talked a lot about. I know what I don't believe. I can point to all the things that I have an issue with and have a problem with. So what is it that I do believe? And that was the question I kind of set out to answer in that first season of that podcast, which is now 5 seasons long. And I've got 3 co-hosts that I didn't start with. And
I know one of them I'm really into.
I can guess which one.
When I saw it,
the one with an accent.
Yes. Sorry, I hear accent and I just assume foreskin, and then I'm off the rails.
He's in the other room. I could call him in here. We could ask.
I don't know if I'm prepared for that right now.
Just kidding. I live with 3/4 of the co-hosts of that podcast. We all live together in this house. But so that question of what do you believe? I kind of went through 5 seasons of just interviewing people who had done some version of deconstruction, apostasy, I have to leave this type of faith, but I still hold on to this, that kind of thing. And I really just tried to be open and receptive and hear what people's experiences were, because I didn't have one. I didn't know what my entire life up till the age 28 was when things really started to kind of fall off the rails for me, was very much in the bubble of very conservative Christendom. And
hold that journey, because I want to get to identifying pronouns as well. So let's go ahead and do that, and then because I can hear that this is going to be an involved answer, and I want it to be, but I just want to make sure we establish first.
Can I just say I appreciate that you have control of your podcast, because and this is not the first time you're going to need to do this with me, and I just want you to know that it is okay to interrupt me and be like, you are 5 points off of the original question I asked you. So yes. Okay, so my pronouns right now are they, them. When I'm in drag, she, her totally works as well. Flamy is very much a she, her, but I don't know. We're trying on they them right now. That's where we're at. That could change, but that's where we are.
I think it's perfect because that's one of the things that I don't want to lose in the somewhat newfound appreciation of pronoun identification is the fluidity of which we have found in pronouns. And I don't, I know there's a whole list of new ones that I just learned that I was like, okay, I just got these into my vocabulary. Like, give me some time. But I do think in just creating that space, like there's no such thing as too much space to create for somebody.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fluidity through which I think you're speaking and identifying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. There's no way we can be too generous with people, right? Like,
agreed. And I'm also convinced, I say it almost every episode, but I'm convinced that we're all non-binary to a point.
Of course we are.
It's just this fucking construct that's thrown upon us. And like, and even though I present as what one might think of as a male, like, I mean, I have very feminine attributes that I'm very proud of. I don't identify as she, her, but I do feel like there's a beauty in just like, if it's going to hurt one person by using the words he or she, I can't use it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And you're right. It's just, I have a friend who's almost 40 years old who just within the past year, like a male, cis male, straight male, who was like, I really love pink. And I have like denied myself the right to wear pink my whole life because pink constructively is associated with, you know, the feminine in our society. And he like literally from the past year started buying pink shirts. I'm like, just so happy. And I'm like, I hate that it took you almost 40 years to like find a little bit of joy in a color. Like that's just wild. But
I've been saying that when I become a dad, because I there are aspects of like of the binary that I do, you know, find interesting at least, like whether, you know, it's baby gender reveals that, you know, but even though that's like a little toxic and traumatizing as well. But like I've been joking about how when I have my baby and I do my nursery, it's just going to be all in grayscale. Because in my attempt to find beauty in the gray space in between, I was like, I just want my baby to be in a gray room. Like, let them find their own color.
That's so great. And then they'll grow up just thinking they're colorblind. Like
exactly. I know you cannot. You cannot fucking win.
Nursery. Yeah, yes. Right. Look outside the nursery and be like, "Oh my God, what have you kept me in my whole life? All these colors."
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, exactly, Dorothy.
Oh my God. Okay, so go back to our original question of are you a believer? Because I think we can also segue that if you just want to start at the very beginning, cue instrumental, you can. Because I do want to. I mean, tell us where Flamy Grant came from. So why don't you just give us your testimony, Sister
Amen.
Grant?
Hallelujah. Thank you. Let the congregation hear the word of the Lord. So I will just answer real quickly, the question of what, am I a believer? I would say that I behave like a believer, and I would say that I outsource a lot of my angst around my belief to Flamy. So like, I feel like Flamy Grant is very much a believer, right? Yep. And then I am in the gray space. So there we go.
So again, who the fuck is Flamy Grant?
Yeah, who the fuck is she? Who the fuck does she think she is? She's so Flamy Grant is my drag character. If you're wondering, I'm a quarantine queen. I had done drag like a handful of times prior to the pandemic, and had always, because I have pictures of myself as like a toddler and a very young kid, like dressing in my mom's stuff. And I remember getting in trouble for playing with her makeup and things like that. So those impulses really got squashed out of me at a very young age by the family, by the culture I was in.
And you grew up in a very conservative culture.
Extremely, yeah.
The Plymouth Brethrens, is that what you called it?
That is what it is, yep.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, you're not the only one. It's a weird little group of churches who do not believe in like centralized, like they're all independent to the extent that like they don't believe in having any kind of like leadership. There's no pastors. There's no paid leadership. There's elders who handle like finances and that kind of thing, but it's basically all volunteer, and they really believe in they call it the priesthood of all believers. Like, so if you are a believer, you act as a priest on behalf of God in the church. So there's like roles for you. But those roles are very much segmented and divvied up based on what you look like, what your genitalia
Gender,
look like,
yeah.
all of that. Yeah. So, it is very much a patriarchal system. Women do not speak in the services. They're not permitted to speak. They have to cover their hair with these little doilies. They're lace doilies.
I do love a doily, but not if it's like mandated.
It's mandated.
And it's literally mandated.
It is. It is man and it is David from a man. From Paul, actually. I think it's Corinthians is the passage they pull from for that. A woman's hair is her glory, and you can't like compete with. It's something about like your hair is competing with God when you're in church. Like what the? I don't know. I don't even remember.
I'm sure that the divine is. I know they're an envious God, but I'm sure they're fine.
They're just sitting up there, like in the corner of church, look at her hair. I mean, God created your hair, right? Like that's what you believe. So why would you? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go down that tangent. The Plymouth Brethren, grew up in that and was in it my whole life until I went to college. When I went to college, I started hanging out with other types of Christians because I went to a Presbyterian school in East Tennessee. And so that was the first time I really started to encounter.
Where'd you go to school?
It's called King College. Yeah, King College.
I remember seeing about them. I grew up in Alabama and not far from there, and I remember getting ads from them in high school about that school.
Yeah,
it's super Christian.
It was. I mean, there's like mandated chapels and things like that, but I don't know. I encountered a lot of different kinds of people. I was only there for 2 years, but it wasn't. I would say you could find the full spectrum. And we had like a pretty large ESL program. So like,
oh, cool.
Yeah. There were people from India there, like Hindu people, like
well, we got to go out ye therefore and make disciples of other nations, Henny.
I guess. Yeah. We were probably trying to do that. That's why we were bringing them onto campus. But yeah, I got caught up in that world because that was the only world that was presented to me. So, and we were pretty strictly forbidden from engaging with much pop culture, especially stuff that was relevant to my peers at the time. Like if it was cool at the moment, like Simpsons, I wasn't allowed to watch TV that was cool and current. We sat down and we would watch like Quantum Leap episodes and Star Trek episodes with Mom, but that we just weren't allowed to. And so music wise, especially, I mean, if I couldn't buy it at the Carpenter Shop, which was our local Christian bookstore, then I wasn't allowed to listen to it. So Amy Grant became my diva,
rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely rightfully so. She's fantastic. She's a vision, and she has an amazing voice and a beautiful songwriter, and I love her.
There was a period where I had judgment for her for being a homewrecker, but we can get into that another day, or we can't, or we can do it right now.
I feel like it's a relevant part of the conversation. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I kind of felt compelled to, like I should, because I was reading it everywhere and all of the Christian literature in our home, from Focus on the Family and all of that. Like I was reading about, Amy's struggle and that kind of thing. But I never really wavered when it came to her. I was like, y'all can fuck off. Amy can do no wrong. So I obviously, as I got into college and into my 20s, the world opened up to me a lot. But I still chose to like hunker down with that kind of very conservative evangelical understanding that I grew up with. So I became a church planter. That was what I was on staff at a mega church in Reno, Nevada for a couple of years, and I moved down here to San Diego, and that's what brought me to San Diego. I was a church planter, and
people don't often understand how churchy San Diego can be.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very like uber evangelical city.
It really is. I mean, we're military town, long history of being a military town too. So a lot of that like aesthetic is here. So it's very much a mixed purplish, I think, kind of county when it comes to politics and theology and that kind of stuff. But
so you went to San Diego to plant a church?
Yeah, to plant a church.
That was an offshoot of the one in Reno.
It wasn't like their church, but it was formed from staff members from that church who were leaving that church and they're like, let's go spread the good news in SoCal where the sun is shining.
And there's just not enough Christians down there already.
Yeah, there's just not enough. And it's an unchurched area. I don't know. Who knows?
Church planners crack me up. No shame, but like, LOL.
Yeah. I was along for the ride because, again, I had just immersed myself in the world. Ministry mattered to me. You know, I had been in some form of ministry my whole life, whether that was singing at the age of 4 years old, singing little solos and having the old ladies pinch my cheek and knowing that like was a blessing to them and like made them feel good. All the way to like, I went to a Christian high school as well. And I was elected to our student government my senior year, but the role into which I was elected was chaplain.
Same.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You had a chaplainship?
I went to a little Christian school as well, and I was the chaplain.
There you go. So yeah, right. Like that's just kind of like, I feel like that leadership mantle was kind of foisted on me in a lot of ways too, because I was the oldest in not only my family, but in my mom's whole side of the family. I was the first grandkid, and my grandparents were like the pillars of our church. My papa especially was just like, we didn't have paid leadership, but if we did, he would have been the pastor. Like that's the role he kind of occupied. So there was just a lot of pressure to like carry that mantle, and I wanted to, you know. Yeah. It made me feel good. It made me feel good to be able to make people feel good. So church planting and being a worship leader, all of it just felt very, you know, it's just one step led to another.
Well, and as a creative in evangelicalism, oftentimes ministry is just where, like you said, you're pushed because you're like, well, that could either make them really flamboyant and gay, or it could like make them serve the Lord better. So where are we going to push you? And because I was called to the ministry as well. And I still do believe that the word ministry has been stolen, I think, by religion and by Christianity. But like what you're doing through Flamy, what I'm doing through this, or through just my interactions at Target on a Tuesday, that's ministry. How are you treating people?
Yeah, you can minister to people always.
What are you doing to create space for people? That's fucking ministry.
Yes. I absolutely agree 100%. And I still have like this like internal thing I have to like work around and get over when I say that word, right? Because it's so deeply associated.
You hear that, Christians? We're taking it back, bitches. Thank you.
Yeah, ministry doesn't belong to you. So much doesn't belong to you that you think does, but ministry is definitely one of them.
Yeah. So when did you were in San Diego? That's where your deconstruction started?
Yeah. So we were in like that whole like emergent church movement thing that happened. I don't know, 2 decades ago, 15 years ago, whatever that was. So that was where I would say it started, because we started asking questions about our faith that were unconventional, you know, not like the full on, nothing close to like apostasy or deconstruction or even like really acknowledging doubt. But it was just like, hey, sometimes it's hard to be a Christian, right? Like, you guys feel that too? And from there, I was just, it let me slowly over a long period of time, because I had a lot of fear of losing my place in the community and losing my community altogether.
Yeah.
When it's the only thing that you are given, especially growing up, like, and you're taught from the get-go that like anything outside these walls or this bubble, this community, like you're just gonna, like, the slippery slope is real. You're going to end up at the bottom of a ditch. Like, life will be terrible for you. You will get addicted to drugs. You will become pregnant. All of those things. Like,
probably get AIDS.
You'll probably get AIDS. So there's just a lot of fear you have to work through. But I did over time, obviously. And like I said, started that podcast in 2017 where I was really, well, I guess, so when I was 28 was when I finally decided I'm gay, and that's not going to change. And I also don't want to be single and celibate for the rest of my life. Because I had tried to do that for a long time. I self-enrolled in Exodus and conversion therapy and all of that. Like, I was very much, I tried for a decade to really intentionally try to be straight, or to just not, like, if I couldn't be straight, to not act gay, right?
Yeah.
So when I was 28, I finally was like, nope, I've done the work now. I understand what the Bible is and isn't saying about this, and I can be gay, I can date, I can have relationships, those kinds of things. And I would say that was like the real, like, stepping off the ledge point that, you know, they would say I stepped on the slippery slope then, and I did. It's just that the truth of the slippery slope is that it's not scary at the bottom. Like, it's actually okay. You're safe and
That
you're good.
That part.
Yeah. So Flamy came around.
Was there a thread that was pulled or something that made you ask your first question of like, wait, if that's not true, what else is not true?
I mean, I would have to say that, yeah, just the Bible's whole, like, the what I believe to be the Bible stance on homosexuality. Once I started to pull that thread and realized, just the clobber passages, were actually designed to clobber. Like, they weren't designed to speak truth into the world about anybody's identity or orientation. They were designed to actually suppress and harm and maintain power for the few who again, everybody's non-binary in some way, right? But
sure.
So I would say that once something as foundational and fundamental as that you reckon with, because it is, at least in that world, it's very foundational and fundamental. That God created man and woman, and male and female created he them, and the woman will leave her father to join the man, and all of that. Like, it's such it's so critical to the whole system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but because this is not too far removed from today, like, you came out pretty late, you deconstructed pretty late. How far of a time gap was there between you kind of coming to grips with you're leaving this concept into where Flamy was birthed to you?
Yeah, I would say Flamy is the most. She still feels very new to me. Like, I'm still figuring that out. Like I said, beginning of pandemic, I had tried drag a few times. I had fun. Halloween was fun to
was
dress
that where
up.
it came from? Just fun? It wasn't like a spiritual escape for you?
Not initially. I think it really was just like realizing that these were impulses I had as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I stopped at the age of 6 and never interacted with them again.
Yeah.
Or probably even before the age of 6, and asking that question, why have I done that? And, the obvious answer being everything we've already talked about. But, I was like, I no longer have that weight around me that, like, oppressing me, and, like, I still had the internalized fear, but I was free to, like, explore.
Sure.
So, especially when pandemic came around and we all had tons of extra hours to fill.
Yeah. That's
when I really, like, dug in and was like, I spent hours on YouTube, makeup tutorials, learning how to put a look together, learning just watching other queens in the world do their thing. And that was where it started to really, I don't know, I feel like I reconnected with my inner child, right? Like, that it was total inner child work. And I'm fortunate, as I already mentioned, to live with, my husband and I house share with another couple, who are my co-hosts on Heathen podcasts, and we are also musicians all together. So,
oh, rad.
Yeah. So we started a weekly web show through the podcast, actually through Heathen podcast. We called it our Heathen Happy Hour. And it was just an online hangout, where we would do cover songs and chat with, we had a faithful audience of like 40 people who hung out with us like those 2 years every Thursday night. And I started like the second or third one in, I was like, I'm going to do this in drag. Like, let's just try it. And they're all still, unfortunately, on the internet, those Heathen Happy Hours. So, like, you can go back and
look it up.
Yeah, you go watch Flamy's evolution. It's actually kind of fun to be able to, like, see how far you've come, But yeah, that was 2020. So we're just 2.5 years ish later.
And Flamy became kind of an outlet for a lot of your own spiritual internal warfare, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Has she healed some of that?
She has. hugely.
And she's about to do some more with this album drop too.
We hope so.
Well, let's jump to that, because I want to talk about Flamy Grant, the musician. Like the brand is so specific, so niched. How did you? I mean, the playlist that I have that accompanies this podcast, the Fagnostic playlist, is probably just a set list for Flamy Grant. To be honest, it's just either like gospel, country, show tunes, folk. And like old school CCM, like 90s CCM, contemporary country music.
That is definitely my playlist, absolutely.
So how did this come about? You're like, I'm gonna fucking take her to the next level. Because also your voice is beautiful, and I never know what to expect when a queen sings live. Because usually if they have other talents, like they drive those more, because it's hard to have different aspects of creativity that you funnel equally. But when I watched your music video earlier this morning, it's a great music video, but B, like your voice is sick. Like it's really a beautiful tone. And also the song is fucking clever and smart. And I was watching it being like, oh my God, like this is going to be something. So I'm very excited that you're here to talk about it here first. Maybe not first, but just,
absolutely first.
So give us the pitch package for this album drop.
Yeah. So, oh boy. So the album is called Bible Belt Baby. Mm-hmm. Actually, let's take it back and answer your other question, because this is relevant about, like where the switch kind of flipped with Flamy, and where I started seeing her as an opportunity to minister. I was super private about it at first. Like my husband and I were laying in bed one night after watching an episode of Drag Race, and I was like, what would your drag name be? And we were having that conversation, and he was like, what about you? And I was like, well, everybody has a pun, or you name it a pun around your diva, like who's your inspiration. I was like, well, I don't know how to do that with Amy Grant. Like, how would I? And then it just like popped in my head, Flamy. And he laughed. And my husband did not grow up in any kind of like religious, like he only has
lucky bastard.
Yeah, very. The only awareness he has of Amy Grant is from, Baby Baby and Heart in Motion in the 90s. So, but he laughed, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if Chris laughs, then like there must be something there. So I kind of just logged it away. I think maybe like the next day I probably went and got the handle, like saved the handle on Instagram and everything. And then for months I didn't tell anybody. I was privately putting on makeup in my room. I was, just like, and I would post pictures to this private Instagram account I had that, I think if you scroll all the way back, some of them are probably still there. So slowly I started, like I said, we started doing the Heathen Happy Hour show. That was where I got my first little practice. And then the church that I've been a part of for 9 years, Sojourn Grace here in San Diego, they were meeting out of our basement room, because we have this big basement room. So our friends who are the pastors of this church would just come over, and they would live stream from here, because then we were here to do music. They could, it just all happened here. So one day, Kate, my friend and pastor, said, hey, how would you feel about Flamy giving the sermon this week? We're doing this series on how to care for yourself, soul care. And, you're doing that with Flamy. And I was like, I am? She was like, yeah. I think you would have something to say. I was like, well, let me think about it. So I got on my newly created TikTok account that all of us millennials and elder millennials created during pandemic. We all jumped onto TikTok. You haven't yet?
No.
You stayed strong. Good for you. The rest of us did, though. We all got on TikTok in pandemic. And I got on my account that nobody even knew about, and that, I had probably like 20 followers on. And I posted this 60-second clip of me getting into drag and talking about what that process did for me, and specifically talking about growing up in the South. And the first words of that video were, I was a Bible Belt baby. And I posted it, and I felt good about it. And I was like, you're right, Kate. Flamy has something to say. Like, I can totally do this. And I went to bed, and the next morning that video had totally blown up. So that was like where that switch flipped for me. And I was like, oh, like, and every comment in that stream was like, oh my gosh, I feel so seen by this. I feel so held by this, which is what? Ministry. Like,
Yes.
I realized that something about that process of watching this.
So
like,
Flamy's a preacher, pastor.
yeah, for a while I just called myself TikTok's polygender preacher.
Polygender preacher. Welcome to the stage, polygender preacher. Yes. But I feel like you need to like trademark Plymouth Cistern and also Womanistry.
Womanistry. Someone's got to have used that already.
Yeah, if not, like you said, claim that handle, sis.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. I love it.
I'm notorious for getting handles and holding on to them in hopes that like someday some little rich kid from Silicon Valley is going to be like, hey, can I purchase this for like 10 grand? You sure can. I also have Instagram handles for my future kids who are not born yet.
Oh, I love that too.
It's a little sad.
Well, they'll tell you that when they're right. Teenagers, but I think it's cute. That's great. Yeah. So I don't know. It just like it just opened up my eyes to the fact that like not only was this something that was good for me to connect to my inner child and like undo so much of that like oppression that had made me feel like I was not good and not worthy as I was, and I had to fit into a box. The evangelical Christian male box my whole life. So not only did it just do that for me, but somehow it was translating in a 60-second video, to literally thousands of people on the internet. And
where's your family in all this?
So my family's all back on the East Coast still. But
like when you started deconstructing, like what was their initial reaction?
I mean, not great. Yeah. I still don't have a great relationship with Dad. We have a relationship. We just don't talk about shit, Yeah. I don't even think he knows I do drag. He definitely knows I'm gay. He was actually the first person I came out to, because when you're in conversion therapy and Exodus, like the whole message is that you're gay because you have a love deficit from your same-sex parent. Like that's the mechanics of being queer according to fundamentalism. And so the step in there, it's not 12 steps, but there are steps you take. And one of the steps is to like reconcile or fix that issue with your same-sex parent. So Dad was actually the first person I ever came out to, weirdly, other than the first family member I ever came out to.
Wow.
And wrote a letter and everything, and just wasn't. It's never been well received. So we've never moved past that. We just have a very superficial relationship. Mom has come a long way. It wasn't great at first, but in 2019 she came to my wedding and walked me down the aisle. So
that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. It is huge. I think at the end of the day, like, she still has her beliefs around things.
Of course.
But she's also like learned, I think, she would rather prioritize her relationship with her kids, because actually all 3 of her kids were all queer.
Okay, we're going to put a pin in that to come back to.
Yeah, that's fun. And so she's realized, like, I'm going to prioritize my relationships rather than my beliefs. So I think that's a really good step.
It's incredible, and also not super common. I mean, maybe increasingly so, slightly, but it still is not the norm. But let's go back to the fact that you got 2 other queer siblings.
Yeah. So I'm the oldest. I've got a non-binary middle sibling and a gay brother who's the youngest. Yeah. So we are, and we've all kind of, Clark, my youngest sibling, came out the youngest. We actually came out at the same time, but I'm 6 years older than he is. But he came out in high school, and which was our Christian high school, where my mom is a teacher, by the way.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the people that I actually have the most sympathy for, because they are so entrenched in the structure that to be, knocked off your rocker is debilitating. And the fact that she's able to, like, the dignity she's maintained in her own faith while also reconciling with her children is incredible.
Yeah. And to hold on to a job for 30, she literally just retired this past year. For 31 years, to hold on to a job at a extremely conservative small Christian school in the Bible Belt in the Appalachian Mountains. Like, and dignity is the absolute right word, because she's like well respected in her community. And she, flew out for her queer kid's wedding to California.
Incredible.
And, So
when your other two siblings came out as non-binary and gay respectively, were you like, no, bitch, let me have my thunder for a minute before you come over here?
Oh no, not at all. Like, no, like I said, my brother and I came out relatively around the same time. So that was, I came out just barely before he did. And it was just great, because we were like, oh my gosh, like we connect in it.
Do you think he would have come out had you not?
Yes.
Okay.
He would have. Yeah, he absolutely would have. He's not me. He did not like conform to the, he didn't have all the same fears I had.
Right. But you had to have like laid a little like rug for him to the entrance back home to mom and dad, like to say like, I mean, he saw it happen live. So he knew that like nobody's going to throw him out or.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Maybe I'll ask him.
You should.
How did I pave the way for you?
Right. But did they know about Flamy Grant?
So, yes, mom does. My siblings obviously do. My siblings are my besties now.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we're all very tight. My mom, it came up in conversation one time. I mentioned, because she follows me on all the social media, so she knows what's going on. And then one time I mentioned on the offhand, I was like, oh yeah, I have a gig for Flamy tonight, so I've got to run or whatever. And she was like, yeah, I don't understand that. And I was like, I wouldn't expect you to get it, Mom.
She doesn't get the reference to Amy Grant?
No, drag.
Okay.
She doesn't understand why I do drag.
Does she at least appreciate the humor of the association?
I don't know. She didn't laugh that day. And we've never talked about it since. So, there you go. Most of my family is just still very conservative religious. I actually just this past summer went to our family reunion, which is a week-long big get a vacation house at the beach in North Carolina. And brought Chris, my husband, and it was the first time I'd seen a lot of my cousins and aunts and uncles in a decade, because I just haven't gone in that long. And it's interesting. There are a handful who like kind of come out of the woodwork, and they're like want to talk more in depth about my life and how I got to where I'm at, and pledge some sort of like hey, I love what you're doing. I love who you are, kind of thing. But for the most part, it's a lot of awkward silences and a lot of like, so this is my cousin Matthew and his, like they don't know how to introduce my husband. Like the word is husband. It's okay. You can say it. Yeah.
So how did you and he meet?
We met at his work. He's a beer tender and a brewer.
That is so hot.
Yeah, it is, right?
I would love to find a man that like stomps grapes for a living.
In Tuscany, please.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he was, I literally just saw him. He wasn't my server that night. So I left my number with my server to give to him, and he called me, and we, yeah.
I love it.
The rest is history, as they say.
But he doesn't have the same religious trauma you do.
No. He grew up in a really accepting home. He has some religious experience growing up, but I think they kind of jumped around from like community to community. And I know there was I think they went to a Universalist church for a while. So it was not like it was not the evangelical, oppressive kind of spirituality. But
your male persona, Matthew Lovegood, you guys chose a surname. So I understand you wanting to disassociate from having a family name, but why? What was the reasoning behind that?
Literally, it was because his last name was hard. Is Danu, but they would just say Danu. It's a French name, and it's one of those that has like a G and a whole bunch of like vowels squished together. And his whole life it was just really hard. So he wanted to either take my name and I was like, no, we're not doing that. So it's like we can pick something new for ourselves. So we picked Lovegood.
And tell us why.
It was before we knew the whole world knew that JK was a TERF. Okay, so We love Luna. So
tell us what a TERF is.
A TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist, right? So this is a person who calls themselves a feminist, but they do not include trans women in the definition of
Right.
women, and so they exclude their own sistren, as we're calling them. So that's not a real feminist.
Do you have any thoughts on the ability to separate art from artist?
I do. I think for me personally, I don't cast a judgment on anybody who loves an art or something that was created by somebody who is maybe problematic, because we are all problematic.
Yeah, we are.
For me personally, I generally disassociate. You know, like if something, I mean, it's my last name, so I can't like. I don't want to go to court again and change my name again. But for me personally, I try to. I don't know. I'm not like strict about it even, because I'll still watch the Grindelwald movies when they come out.
Right.
But I think that if you have supported someone's creative work and they do something that like does harm in the world, and you see that and you perceive that, like, I think you're well within your rights and maybe even a little bit of responsibility to like at least hold them to task in some way, shape, or form as the person who's like, you know, contributing to their livelihood.
Yeah.
I think there's, I don't know. It's I'm never going to like condemn anybody for, I don't know who, I'm trying to think of a name. Like
Michael Jackson's the ultimate one, I think, for
there
especially for like
for
heteronormative America who, you know,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's hard. Like that would be, for me, that would be like Amy Grant, like somebody discovering something really
just
seedy.
Because she went and slept with Vince Gill while she was married doesn't mean we can't enjoy her at a beautiful bar in Knoxville, Tennessee, like I did about 10 years ago, and paid a lot of money to see that show. Yeah. What Hogwarts house are you?
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Okay. I can see that. I'm a Slytherin.
What about Slytherin?
Yes.
See, my aesthetic is very Slytherin. I wish I were Slytherin. But I've literally taken every test you can find, and I always wind up in Ravenclaw. But I love green. So,
what did your family think when you chose to leave your last name behind?
We've never talked about it.
Wow.
So I don't know. You know, I think they are pretty respectful of it. My dad, his wife passed away. My parents divorced when I was a teenager, and he remarried. His wife passed away last year. So I went out for the funeral, and he had put down his last name. So Matthew, I'm not going to say it, but my old last name on the program as, you know, family, and he realized it after they were printed, and like was crying when I got there, and he was like, "I'm so sorry, you know, I didn't." So, you know, even for someone who like I don't really have much of a relationship with, and like we never talk about anything beyond family and the weather, like that was a pretty interesting moment to have. Yeah.
It's so interesting. The older that we get, the amount of grace we have for those who may not be on board with us, I think it increases. And I don't think it comes from a place of like laziness or like anti-activism, but I think it's just recognizing that like anybody that's older than us has a lesser capacity to grow and evolve than we do. And, you know, looking forward, the people that come before or after me will have a greater capacity to grow and evolve than I do, because we're going to hit stumbling blocks in our own growth with all, you know, like the new pronouns that just got dropped. Or I shouldn't say that like it's an album, but you know what I mean? Like it's just the new spaces. Hot
new pronouns.
Oh my God, I know I'm going to get hated for that one. But the new spaces that have been created. How about that? That sounds better. But being aware of that, I hope that it gives us a bigger chance to grow and evolve beyond what our initial capacity could or would be.
Yeah, I love that. I really appreciate you saying that, actually, because I feel the same way. And sometimes I found it really hard to articulate, because I think there's around with cancel culture and everything else. It's just like you can just say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And I like the I like that perspective that like anybody older than me is having a harder time probably adjusting than I am.
Absolutely.
And I see it for sure in myself too. Like it's really hard sometimes to keep up with, oh wait, the kids are doing what now? The kids? Oh boy. So yeah.
So what is your ultimate, like, where do you see Flamy in 5 years?
I mean, I want to do a lot.
Yeah.
I want to write a musical, you know, I want to write a book. I would love to tour. I would love to be able to take Flamy on the road and actually have people show up for my shows. Like that would be an amazing thing. So,
and you filmed your music video at a United Methodist church, which is known for being an extremely affirming, welcoming congregation. Can you see Flamy becoming like a music minister, like that does just go on the road?
I mean, again, using that very broad definition of ministry, maybe. I honestly at this point can't see myself ever being employed by a church again.
I'm sure that's very triggering.
That could totally change. That could absolutely 100% change. And like I'm part of a church here in San Diego, and I do music for that church. I'm not on staff. It's all volunteer what I do. So, but that church is like such a unique unicorn space. Like it's like we literally do not have a creed. Like there's not a checklist of things you have to believe, which is that. And then my friendship and relationship with the pastors is the only reason I've been able to feel authentic in that space. Because otherwise I would feel like I'm either pretending to be something I'm not, or like never feel like I'm fully part of the thing because I don't believe the way everybody else does. So I feel like I found
that's Sojourn Church, you said?
Yeah, it's called Sojourn Grace Collective.
Okay, because I think those churches are so important to elevate, because I have several straight cisgendered listeners on this show who have messaged me talking about the reason that they cannot deconstruct or cannot leave their church is because it provides such a community. And so then you often think like, well, how am I going to socialize my child? How am I going to, socialize me, like keep me accountable of being a good person? And I think it is, and knowing that there are spaces out there to still find community, to find guidance, to find checklists of or benchmarks in life and celebrations of other people's weddings and births and whatever. I just find it so important to elevate those, even though I don't subscribe to any particular church at this time. I love that they exist, and I trust that they are creating spaces for people that are just having a hard time getting out of their own space. Yeah,
absolutely. I think one of the things I've learned through drag and just like being part of the queer community, like you really don't actually need a church. Like maybe some people do, like maybe some folks do. I don't actually. And I thought I did, my whole life. Like that was my biggest fear, was losing my community. And that's one of the beautiful parts of being queer, is that you will always have community. Like unless you're a complete and total asshole, like there are people who are going to be willing to walk with you through all of your hard things, celebrate your joyful moments, like be your people. We call it chosen family, and that's what church always was. At the end of the day, like you had to unfortunately subscribe to like a list of like creeds or whatever in order to belong in that space. So it's not actually real belonging. That's actually the difference. It's like in the queer community, like you can find belonging without having to conform.
Right? That's actually the whole point.
Yeah, that is the whole point.
That's interesting. I've never thought about it that way. Thank you for saying that. What do you say to the young queer kids who are still in those pews that maybe don't even know they're gay? They just know that they're different or othered.
I mean, I think it's a really simple message, and that message is just that you are worthy. You are loved. You're not deficient in any way. You're good.
Yeah.
If I could say 2 words, it would be you're good.
Yep. Because we're taught from birth that we are bad and in need of somebody that can help us become good.
Yeah. And I think if you can start off life believing in your own inherent goodness, then you're at such an advantage. Because that's the lesson that most of us have to unlearn as adults, right? Is that I'm not depraved. like we all have the capacity for evil. We all have the capacity to do terrible things to other people, but depravity is like the biggest lie the church ever sold us. Because that's what keeps us tethered to the pew. It's if we believe that about ourselves, then we believe that we need whatever product this organization is offering. It's marketing 101. And we keep giving our tithe dollars and we stay there and all of that. But no, I would say my message is that you're good.
I love that. I often think about how because I do, growing up in church has some of my fondest memories, and still have close friendships with people that I met in the church who have, since found their own spiritual path as well. But I often think how I'm going to raise my kid or kids, should I have them. And I like to think of it being, instead of being birthed in contingency, but being birthed in potential. Because like, while you are good, you have so much more potential to grow, and not because somebody saves you or because you commit to a certain belief system, but just because you are. Yeah. What would you say to the divine were they standing before you?
I think what I would say would be a lot of questions.
Okay.
I need to know. I would need to know some things. I would need to know, like, what is your omnipotence level, like on scale of 1 to 100, like how high up do you actually go? And then depending on some of those answers, I think I would have some, like, either some damning accusations,
right,
or some like, oh cool, like you're a super being who like really wants the best for us, but maybe you can't actually like influence pain and suffering in the world, and
so
in the way that we.
You want to know how much you blame them.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Or
maybe.
hold them accountable.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a lot of what I still wrestle with and have to work through.
Good. That's heavy. I love that. I'm going to sit with that for a while today. Thanks.
Yikes. I might be sitting with it too.
You let me know. I'm going to pop an edible about it and really get down a road. Flamy, what a treat. I'm so honored to have you as a guest. I cannot wait until this album drops. I'm so excited. I cannot stand it. The one single that you've released alone is like, I'm going to add it to my playlist today and make sure it gets, like, I'm going to show the screenshot of it too when I post this.
Awesome.
But so it drops the 23rd of this month?
September 23rd, 2022. Yep.
Okay.
Bible Belt baby.
Are you doing any kind of press in San Diego for it? Because you also host you host open karaoke and stuff, right?
Yeah, I have a karaoke show I host weekly, and then I play gigs around town here. We do have an album release party happening in San Diego on the 24th, and there are still tickets available for that. So if you're in SoCal or you want to come to San Diego and celebrate, that's going to be a lot of fun. Semler is actually playing that show with me. Semler is a musician based out of LA who was the first openly queer artist last year to have an album that went to the #1 spot on the Christian charts.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
Christian iTunes charts. Yeah, so
what's their name? Similar?
Semler, Semler. Grace Baldridge. Grace Baldridge is. I had to think about that for a second. Is their Christian's name? But yeah, they're fantastic, and they're going to come down and actually similar duets with me on a track on the album, which is a cover of Amy Grant's "Takes a Little Time." So,
does Amy Grant know about you?
I think she has to at this point. Like, I've met so many people.
If any of you have any connection to anyone that has a connection to Amy Grant, please hook us up.
Yeah, I do know that track has made it to Amy's manager at this point. I don't know if it's going to be opened or listened to or passed on
Amy's
beyond that.
Pretty progressive. You know what I mean? Like she's
Amy's amazing.
Yeah.
She's so progressive. So she's been talking the past couple of years about this third act of her life and how she wants to set a welcome table for everyone. And she's being really intentional with that language.
Sometimes Christians can really be good.
Yeah. So we love Amy, and we always will.
I love your passion for her, your advocacy for people's growth. I cannot wait for this. Y'all, the 23rd of September, Bible Belt Baby is on anywhere you get your music, really, right?
Yep,
okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
I cannot wait to do a revisit for your next album. You'll have to come back and tell us how the journey's been since this first drop. Every gay man that cannot go to church is going to be able to go to your church?
I have Jennifer Knapp. I've got Semler, and then I've got Derek Webb from Caveman's Call.
Yes, no, both of them have been on this podcast.
Oh, good. Yeah, so
yes.
Great. I'd be honored.
I wish you all the best. I thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait to have this jamming during my workday next week.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. And by the way, Fagnostic, love it. It's the best name ever.
It turns a lot of heads. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the hope. I love that you brought the whole term ministry into it, because you're right. That's what it is at the end of the day. Yeah. That's kind of why I picked heathen for mine too. I was like, let's just be real clear from the get-go what's going on here.
Yeah. Yep. That's what you're doing. Womanistry.
Womanistry. You're right. Yes, I got to remember
that. To work that in. Oh my God. Well, I'll see you next time, and I wish you all the best with this drop. Okay.
Cheers to you. Thank you.
All right, talk soon.
Bye.
And all the people say, gay man. Y'all, thanks for listening to another episode of the Fagnostic Podcast, hosted by me, Matt Hayes. Now, I want you to go check out our brand new site, fagnostic.com, and see what we're doing with the brand. I'm developing an online resource center for LGBTQ people looking to overcome or contribute to overcoming religious trauma. The podcast is now part of the greater Fagnostic network of resources, the book club, the playlist, the blog, the merch, the news articles, the artists, and so much more. So, if you know any queer or queer-friendly doctors, lawyers, specialists, preachers, volunteer opportunities, mentors, or anyone else that might be of service to a queer person escaping religion, send them my way. You can reach me at info@fagnostic.com. Now, please go subscribe, review, and share this podcast. And in the meantime, y'all have a blessed day, and peace be with all y'all.
Hi, Michael Spicer here. Matt Hayes forgot to put my name in the credits of his podcast as the composer, but I'm here to tell you that I wrote the music for his podcast. Whatever it's called, I don't know.